Welcome to my new calculus channel. My name is John Gabriel. In this video I'm going to discuss a topic that has been used very deceptively and very roundabout, in a very roundabout way to get at me, to attack me for what I have exposed about mainstream ignorance and stupidity. Okay, so there's this ridiculous site called rationalwiki.org. Ironically, it should be called irrationalwiki.org because it contains the opposite of logic, which is not logic. Now, let me talk a little bit about the topic of mathematics, because this site uses a word called pseudomathematics. Okay, and the word for pseudomathematics in Greek is pseudomathematica. Pseudo means, false or lie, and mathematica means mathematics. So where does the word mathematics really come from? Well, nobody really knows. Let's look at a few definitions here. In terms of Webster's, it says it's the science of numbers and their operations, and it's a branch of or operation used in mathematics, and the first known use is in 1573. Well, the Greeks were using this term hundreds of years before 1573. That is when the ancestors of the modern academic apes were still swinging in trees. Okay, so mathematics was around for a long time, and it was called mathematics. Now, let me tell you what the word mathematics means, as far as I know from being brought up as a little Greek. Of course, I have many different ethnic backgrounds in my ancestry, but I do speak Greek. The word mathematics can be split up into several different derivative or base words. Mathe means to learn. So, for example, if I say mathe na ξέρεις τι εννοεί καλό και κακό. That means learn so that you can know what good and bad is. Okay, mathe is a verb. It means learn. Mathema or mathema means lesson. Okay, so mathema is a lesson, and mathematics is more of an adjective. It means of lessons, right? So now, nobody really knows exactly how this came to describe what mathematics deals with. So what does mathematics deal with? It deals with numbers. Okay, numbers are something that modern academic morons have never understood, because they've never understood the elements of Euclid. Okay, a number is the measure of a magnitude. It's not some bullshit like complex number, which is a quasi-number object, or irrational number, which doesn't exist. The ancient Greeks knew about incommensurable magnitudes, and I have a little secret to tell you. Since the ancient Greeks, zero progress has been made in the understanding of number. Absolutely zero progress. No moron after Euclid and before me understood the meaning of the word number. Pseudo-mathematics is the bullshit that was designed or created by Dedekind and Cauchy. Okay, that is pseudo-mathematics. Dedekind cuts and Cauchy sequences are pseudo-mathematics. Yes? Well, let's deal with this a little more on a level that doesn't bring up so much emotion. Okay, so the first thing is, what does this pseudo-mathematics site say? Well, it says it is a work, study, or activity which claims to be mathematical, but refuses to work within the standards of proof and rigor with mathematics, which mathematics is subject to. Excuse me. Which standards and who decides the proof and rigor? Is it the modern academic morons of today, or the ones who actually invented mathematics? And then it says, much like other pseudo-science, it often relies on ignoring proven facts and methods, thus making unsubstantiated claims of fact and ignorance. Well, that's kind of ironical, because there is so much ignorance, incompetence, and stupidity in mainstream academia. So, unfortunately for practitioners of pseudo-mathematics, it's an absolute science of black and white. Everything is either right or wrong, and get this contradiction in parentheses, but sometimes fuzzy. Can you believe that? So everything is black and white, but sometimes fuzzy. That makes absolutely zero sense. It's a contradiction, no matter which way you look at it. So what we're told here is that it takes multiple forms, often focusing on disproving accepted facts or proving things which have been proven impossible. Well, let's carry on just reading this first paragraph. It says, while a conventional mathematician is welcome to reject and attempt to disprove theories or prove something, they must work within the rigour and framework of mathematics. That's like saying, if you want to disprove something, you have to live by the religion that is mainstream mathematics. That's what that's telling you. It's saying that they decide the rules and the way the game needs to be played. In other words, it's no longer a science to begin with. What it happens to be is a religion. Okay, so I'm sorry, but religion is pseudo-math or pseudo-science. So that has no place in the world today. Religion is absolute bullshit. One cannot simply make an argument against it. Oh, really? In other words, they're telling you, we are the academic Illuminati, and what we decide and how we decide is how it's going to be. Likewise, modern mathematics is proving various things to be impossible, and so to attempt to prove without addressing the alleged impossibility is folly. So some moron says that something is impossible, and because nobody else has actually yet proved that it is possible, it goes without saying that any other course of action is folly. That is certainly not true. What if somebody had said that at the time that people were imagining the sun was not the center of the universe and the earth was the center of the universe? The church in that time, the Catholic Church, had stated clearly that the earth is the center of the universe. Right? So if the earth were the center of the universe, it would be folly to claim anything otherwise. The next paragraph is absolute rubbish, because it talks about the refutations of Gödel and Cantor. Now, Cantor, there's nothing to refute. Cantor was a complete and total idiot. He ended up in a mental institution. As for the works of Gödel, they are highly questionable, and they are not established knowledge. Of course, I don't know what Gödel and Cantor have to do with compass and straight edge problems, which are definitely impossible to prove. So, yes, attempts to solve certain compass and straight edge problems are impossible and have been proven to be impossible, but that doesn't fall into the same category as Gödel and Cantor, who were complete cranks and belonged in mental institutions. Now, of course, complex numbers are useful, but they're not really complex numbers. They're quasi-numbers. And the final sentence says that pseudo-mathematicians may use convincing and sophisticated mathematical vocabulary. However, the theories using such terms tend to be not even wrong. So now, the academic Illuminati have come up with the expression "not even wrong," which means due to the highly specific nature of the terms. In other words, the simian overlords or apes decide what the terms are. They decide what is folly, they decide what is fuzzy, and they decide what is right and wrong. To me, that sounds like religion, and that sounds like they've established knowledge, and it's never going to change. And if that's the case, well, just imagine, there's going to be zero progress, as there has been over the last 150 years, because we have academics who are primates running the system of education in most countries in the world, right? So what really upsets me about all this is not so much that they have such ridiculous ideas and make such outrageous statements, not understanding what is pseudo-mathematics, because they've really made up their own definition, but that they're at the same time attacking certain individuals. Okay, now look who they attack. So if we move down further in this article here, they've got a section here called practitioners. And the very first one says John Gabriel, the creator of the new calculus. Well, first of all, John Gabriel didn't create the new calculus, but the fucking morons would never know that. John Gabriel discovered the new calculus. Okay, he didn't create it. Nobody ever creates anything. They discover knowledge, right? We don't invent things. We discover knowledge. Then it continues to say he can be characterized as a neo-Pythagorean in that he only recognizes integers and rationals. Well, if the morons knew anything, they'd know that integers and rationals are both the same thing. So it's a redundancy to say integers and rationals. In fact, rational numbers came long before integers and natural numbers. And it's true to say that the rational numbers are the only true numbers, and everything else is an incommensurable magnitude, because a number is the measure of a magnitude. If a magnitude can't be measured, then it has no common measure with any other magnitude, and hence it is incommensurable. It proceeds to say that he refuses to accept the usefulness of complex numbers in electrical engineering. Well, that's news to me. I am John Gabriel, and I have never made a statement like that. Okay. In fact, what I have said is that they are not necessary in any mathematics, even in electrical engineering. Complex numbers are not necessary. I didn't say they're not useful. I said they're not necessary. And then it says, neglects the fact that both infinitesimal and limits have been rigorously defined. I do neglect. It's not a fact, first of all. That's why, even that statement is not even wrong. How can I neglect a fact, you fucking morons, when it's not even wrong? Okay? I really get angry when I read this. They're both infinitesimals and limits. Neither of those have been rigorously defined. And so it talks about, and then it becomes a little libelous and slanderous. It talks about redefinition of derivatives and integrals, where he unsuccessfully tries to cram calculus. Whoever wrote this must be an absolute imbecile. I mean, I just can't understand how they can even allow this to be written on a site like this. It makes no sense to me. So the final punch now, which you can tell that this is absolute trash, that it is a work of lies, a work with one agenda: to defame, discriminate, to denigrate my name. It says he's also a notorious anti-Semite. I have been called that so many times. That is so untrue. That is, I don't even know how to answer that anymore. I've come to a point where I just don't know how to deal with that, because it's a lie. I've never been an anti-Semite. In fact, I have Jewish ancestry, and I have strong ties to Israel. I've been to Israel many times. I love the Jewish people, okay? Yes, there are Jews who are absolute scum. I mean, if you take a look at Goldman Sachs and all these rich and powerful reptiles who are selfish, care about nobody but themselves. Yeah, but that doesn't mean I'm anti-Semitic. There are many others who are just like those individuals, and they're not Jews. So because I call them disgusting and despicable individuals, does that make me an anti-Semite? I mean, does Jill Stein, who says that Israel is guilty of crimes against humanity, is she an anti-Semite because she said that? Absolutely not. Doesn't mean she hates the Jews for saying that. So, and then it says from Jewish mathematicians and physicists such as Albert Einstein to prove him wrong. Well, I don't know what Albert Einstein has to do with mathematics, but he has absolutely zero to do with my mathematics. Okay, so you can tell from reading this particular paragraph here that this is not even, it's not even wrong, as they say. What is the purpose of saying, making an accusation such as as is made over here, that I'm an anti-Semite? That's a lie. I've never been an anti-Semite. I speak Hebrew, I speak Greek, I speak several languages. I have many Jewish friends. It's completely false that I'm an anti-Semite, and I consider it to be defamatory, and I find it very stressful that these bastards, these dead dogs, have the chutzpah to write something like that about me and to make such outrageous statements, which are actually lies, on sites like irrationalwiki.org. I can't even answer it. It's so absurd. It's so outrageous. There isn't any way one can approach these statements from a calm and collected point of view. These people don't deserve to live, in my opinion. I hate them with a perfect hatred. And since I changed this paragraph, two absolute morons, one called Nerd and another one called Reverend Black, went back and reverted it to its previous form. No, I'm afraid you don't get to call somebody an anti-Semite and then to claim that your wiki is rational. It's completely irrational. What does the fact that somebody is an anti-anything have to do with pseudo-mathematics? You think about that, okay? So, now, if you go to my site, you will find, as far as pseudo-mathematics is concerned, you will find that the calculus I have discovered works perfectly. There are no problems with it. I have never once made an outrageous statement or claim. I'm not the one who says 0.999 is well defined as 1. The morons in mainstream academia are the ones who are saying it, okay? Not I. I'm not the one who claims that an infinite sum makes sense. The morons in mainstream academia are the ones who claim that. So whose math is pseudo-math? Theirs or mine? Let me tell you something before I end this video. And I hope you'll remember this, and I hope you'll come and study my new calculus site, because I have been viciously attacked from all sides. All knowledge is questionable. Did you get that? All knowledge. No knowledge is ever beyond further investigation. And all knowledge is subject to revision. What does that mean? That means that Godel hasn't come along and written a certain book which is the Bible. Yeah, as far as mainstream mathematicians are concerned, Gödel's theorems might be Bible material, but not according to logic and according to rationality. As for Cantor, I can't imagine a bigger moron. Even his peers rejected him in the very time that he brought out his outrageous statements and theories. Cantor was so delusional, he did literally end up in a mental institution. Okay, Cantor believed in revelation from God. He believed that the transfinites were revealed to him from God. I'm afraid mathematics is not theology. Mathematics has nothing to do with theology, and Gödel has nothing to do with mathematics or logic. As for the apes, such as Bertrand Russell and the others who came along and made statements that mathematics is about logic and the science of quantity and whatnot, nobody really knows. I mean, for example, Russell said that all mathematics is symbolic logic. That's just his assertion. That's just his opinion. That's just his bullshit. Russell was a tobacco head moron who couldn't tell you anything about logic if his life depended on it. I mean, he wrote a particular paper which was over 200 pages long to prove that 1 + 1 = 2, whereas no proof is necessary in that statement. It is actually inherent in the definition of, or in the derivation of, rational numbers. Well, before I end off, I'd like to invite you to visit my channel and to see where I expose academic ignorance and stupidity. There are now 30 videos and including this one, it will be 31 videos. Please watch these videos and see for yourself how the morons in mainstream academia have been attacking me, especially over the last couple of years, trying to denigrate my work, trying to make it seem as if I'm the fool and they're the logical individuals who know everything. So I hope I have made these points clear, and if you've enjoyed this episode. This is the New Calculus channel, and I'm John Gabriel. Till next time, goodbye.